generate electricity from renewable sources. Over 86% of the energy consumed in the United States comes from petroleum, natural gas, or coal. Unfortunately, the dependence on these non-renewable resources could someday lead us straight to our demise. Without change, society as whole would be immobilized. But why wait for the inevitable when we can enact change now? Here are 9 sources of renewable energy that could potentially change how we power our future. 1. Hydroelectric energy. Currently, hydroelectric power plants provide only about 5% of the energy used in the United States. This type of power is more than a few centuries old, as it has been used to power grain mills and other farm machinery. Unlike the water wheels of the past, modern hydroelectric power plants start with water stored in a reservoir behind a dam. The dam operators release water in a controlled manner through a spillway and over a turbine to generate electricity. In general, these structures have a relatively short lifespan and are prone to catastrophic failures. Another downside to hydroelectric power plants is their sometimes negative impacts on the environment. 2. Geothermal energy. Geothermal energy works similar to a large heat exchanger. Deep in the Earth's crust, heat from magma chambers and volcanic activity can be utilized to generate steam, which can turn turbines. Alternatively, natural steam rising from crustal vents in the ground can be captured and directed into a power generation facility. The hot water vapor is directed towards turbines, which generate the electric power. Geothermal power plants can also have very short lifespan. Sometimes, the hot spots near the Earth's surface can become inactive or run out of steam. The best geothermic sites have a magma chamber neither too shallow nor too deep from the surface. Ideally, a good geothermal site would also need to have natural channels or inlets to constantly supply the hot magma with water. 3. Wind energy. One study indicated that if all the winds of North and South Dakota could be harnessed, it would provide 80% of the electrical energy used in the United States. Similar to hydroelectric power, wind power has been used for centuries. In the days of the old, it was used to turn grain mills or pump water. Nowadays these devices are very simplified. Basically, wind flows over a huge propeller that turns a turbine and generates electricity. Wind power stations provide a good amount of power in relation to the cost it requires to build them. They are inexpensive to build and are generally safe to use. However, this technology does have a few downsides. Wind power farms usually create a lot of noise pollution. They could pose a problem if built near homes or in cities. Spinning propellers also pose a significant problem to our bird populations. Additional, wind power is not completely reliable nor is it very efficient compared to other sources of energy. Despite these challenges, wind power is one of the most promising sources of alternative energy that scientists are considering today. 4. Tidal energy. To harness the power of the tides, you have to construct a dam or gate structure near the mouth of an ocean bay that has a large tidal range. The in and out flow of the ocean's water is then used to move paddles which turn turbines to generate electricity. Although this is a really great idea, it is not very practical. Most of the world's coast does not have a tidal rise and fall large enough to create any usable amount of power. Current research suggests that the range must be at least 25 feet or more for sufficient power to be generated. It is also very hard to find suitable locations to build this kind of power plant. 5. Ocean current energy. Harnessing the power of the currents of the ocean is not a new idea. In the vast oceans of Earth, there are currents that constantly travel the globe. The currents turn the sea in a never-ending underwater river. This untapped source of energy may provide the electricity of the future. The concept is simple. A stationary set of turbines would rest in the ocean and would be turned by the natural movement of the water. This power generation facility essentially acts like a wind power plant, except that it is constructed underwater. Challenges with this proposition include find a suitable location with enough water movement, constructing a machine that can survive the ocean, and preventing environmental damage. 6. Oceanic thermal energy. Between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn exists a portion of the ocean that experiences significant thermal stratification. These relatively shallow layers of water with varying temperatures have the potential to create electricity. To harness this energy, you would need to use a heat exchanging device to turn a turbine. However, in the case liquid ammonia would need to be piped through the system instead of water because of its low boiling point. Cold water from the lower layers of the ocean would be pumped into the system to cause the ammonia to condense. Then when it warms up in the hot layer of the ocean, it would turn back into a gas, creating enough pressure to rotate a turbine. Although a unique idea, current research shows that it is not likely to be very efficient. In addition to this, it would be difficult to transmit or store the energy generated from this to use where it is needed. 7. Nuclear power. About 7% of the energy consumed in the United States comes from nuclear energy. In this type of power plant, radioactive materials release energy by a process of nuclear fission. This energy is used to heat water that turn turbines to create electricity. While this type of power plant can generate immense amounts of energy, many significant challenges and roadblocks exist for nuclear energy. These power plants are also very expensive to build and require a feasible way to dispose of the toxic waste. The perceived fear of terrorism and nuclear disasters is another roadblock for these clean and efficient power plants. 8. Lightning energy. Have you ever thought about harnessing the immense energy located in lightning? The concept is simple. Large Tesla coil-like devices would sit atop mountains and beckon the lightning to strike them. Lightning would strike metal rod and the device, and electricity would be directed to large capacitors for storage. Then, the stored energy could be released slowly as it's needed to power homes and businesses. However, this power source is not without its problems either. Energy from lightning is not very reliable and would never become a main source of power. Lightning and the high voltages associated with it are also very dangerous. 9. Solar, photovoltaic, energy. Solar power has been touted as the panacea for solving our society's energy problems. In theory, there really is no better alternative source of energy than what can be harnessed from the sun. The abundance of plant life covering the Earth's surface has used sun to generate energy for millions of years. Life on Earth as we know it could not exist without the sun. For a number of reasons, this celestial body is also the perfect energy source for all of humanity's needs as well. With the cost to design, locate, and build new solar plants declining rapidly, and the efficiency of energy collection increasing, it won't be long before these facilities become an everyday symbol of energy independence in our society. Solar power is passive, quiet, and requires little maintenance. In addition, most materials needed to create solar panels are readily available. 10. In consideration for the future, we as a race will find it necessary to reduce our dependence on non-renewable resources such as petroleum. As with anything else in this world, nothing comes without a downside. For petroleum, it was obvious. The future lies not with just one type of power plant, but with a variety of renewable energy sources, including some lesser-known sources of energy such as biomass, used wisely in conjunction with the smart use and transmission of the electricity they generate. To generate
হোমওয়ার্ক হিসেবে থাকবে শক্তির উৎস কি, সংজ্ঞা আর কি, শক্তির উৎপাদনে কী কী উৎস আছে, শক্তির উৎসগুলো বর্ণনা করো এবং নিচে থেকে এটা নোট করবা। শক্তি উৎপাদনে ভূগর্ভস্থ তাপ, জ্বালানি সেল, ম্যাগনেটো হাইড্রোডাইনামিক এনার্জির বর্ণনা। এই ছিল আমাদের আজকের অনলাইন ক্লাস এবং এই অধ্যায়ের গুরুত্বপূর্ণ প্রশ্নগুলো দিয়ে দিলাম এখানে অতি সংক্ষিপ্ত 1, 3, 5, 10, 12, 15, 22, 27, 35, 46, 49 এবং এখানে বাকিগুলো দেওয়া আছে। আর অতি সংক্ষিপ্ত যখন তুমি রচনামূলক প্রশ্নগুলো ভালো করে পড়ে নিবা তখন অতি সংক্ষিপ্ত এবং সংক্ষিপ্ত প্রশ্নগুলো অনেকাংশে শেখা হয়ে থাকে। সবাইকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ এবং সুস্থ সুন্দর জীবনযাপনের জন্য আহ্বান রইল সবার প্রতি। আমরা সবাই নিরাপদে থাকার চেষ্টা করব। ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে। গুড বাই।